Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. At 10:23 a.m. this morning, Eastern Time, at 10:23, I was sitting where I am right now, doing something that no one cares about, when all of a sudden I felt this. I felt this. I looked at Mrs. L and we thought, what is happening? 10:23. And I thought, building. We're in a rather high building, and sometimes there's rattling, but this was different. This was different. This was strange. This wasn't a regular building shaking, because if you've been in New York, sometimes buildings will shake, and sometimes you'll feel like the building settles. It'll make kind of a cracking noise. But this was different. This was different. And I turned to Mrs. L, who's in the other room. I said, did you feel this? And she's having things kind of go like this. And then all of a sudden, I was about to go on the Mark Simone show, the most popular, uh, I think, show of its kind in the New York area, to be sure. And nonetheless, there I was, and I went immediately and online, and I just went to Twitter. And this is so interesting, so very interesting. I went to Twitter, and if you want to find out something that's immediately happening, you go to Twitter. And I just asked the question, did I just feel an earthquake in New York City? It was 10:23 a.m. I remember, I always look at the clock. That's my thing. Whenever something happens, notice the time. Notice the time. Notice when you called. It's the old prosecutor crime thing. When did it happen? When did you start feeling the onset of the pain? And I looked, 10:23. And I went to Twitter and I said, is this, by the way, everybody's okay as far as we know. So I went to Twitter and I just wrote, did I feel an earthquake? Boom! Immediately. Immediately. Yes, I felt it too. Now, friends, as we speak, it's either 4.7, 5.3. It's either in Lebanon, New Jersey, Whitehouse, New Jersey, Tewksbury. In fact, we were in the Tewksbury area just last week. A friend of ours in Greenwich, Connecticut. What's that? 2 hours, an hour and a half away? Felt it. A friend of ours at a mall in New Jersey called and said the mannequins were shaking. This is enormous. Now, I felt it here, and immediately we just went minutes ago, 11:05 or so. We had the emergency thing on our phones, and as I'm waiting on the phone to talk to Mark Simone, my old pal at WOR, of which I am an alumnus. I'm waiting, and you hear people, Mark, yeah, listen, did you feel an earthquake? What? Huh? Did you feel an earthquake, Mark? An earthquake? No. And then, boom, immediately. What do I notice about this? Heritage News is over. So what's the first thing I did? The first thing I said, let me go online. Let me use this thing that we go online and say, welcome. If you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe, be a part of this. We're having, as I speak, we have friends of ours in Philadelphia. They felt it. Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Greenwich. This is huge. This is big. Now, look at this. This is something. Now, we don't know what happened other than this. I don't know of any kind of damage. Mrs. L right now, honey, are you scouring this? She's my news director. This is Lionel Nation. There's two people in the nation, me and Mrs. L. If you see anything, honey, break in. Let me know what this is. But what I wanted to say first and foremost is two things. Three, actually. Number one, when you feel something like this happening, I'm fascinated by the reaction that people have immediately. The reaction that people have immediately. What do you think? How do you handle this? And the first thing I'm thinking of as I go through these little things is at first, oh, there's something in the building. There's something below. There's something in the basement. There's something below, because that's where I'm feeling this, obviously. Now, this is a split second. And immediately thereafter, there's the earthquake, because it doesn't hit you right away. Now, some people will say always, well, I knew right away it was an earthquake. You did? You knew this immediately. I didn't think this. Why? Because I'm not supposed to think this. This isn't where we live. We don't have earthquakes here. The last one was what, honey? 17 what? And the 1700s, it was one in New Jersey, was 5 point whatever. Now, understand the next point. Look at how information and data are compiled, how they are amassed today in this world of. The first thing I did was I didn't put on CNN. I would have done that in 1985 or something. I didn't put on the radio. No, I went to Twitter. Do you know that when Robin Williams died, I found out he died, and the first thing I did was I went to Twitter to say, have they known this yet? And it was a while, and I realized now we're feeling it. And I realized I was one of the first people to know, by virtue of the information delivered, that Robin Williams died. I find that fascinating. I find the immediacy of this fascinating. The way we collect news now. And then I get this thing on a phone. Already that's outdated. Remember the emergency broadcast? For the next 60 seconds, your station, in conjunction with others, will conduct a test of the emergency broadcasting session. This is only a test. Beep. And you wonder, what is this? I don't do that now. Now, the next thing. This is the most important. And this is what I say to you, my friends. And this is what I say to you, and I want you always, please, to recognize the fact that what I am saying is I am not telling you something I don't know. I am asking a question. But let me bring you up to remind you of this quote, which I have been quoting for the longest time. In April of 1997, United States Secretary of Defense William Cohen declared that there are terrorists at work who, and I quote, are engaging even in an eco-type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. Tell me, is he a conspiracy theorist? Terrorists engaging even in an eco-type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through, as he said, electromagnetic waves. Let me say right now, dear friends, and listen to me carefully. Let me say this very, very carefully to you and yours. I am not suggesting anything of the sort. I am not suggesting, I'm not intimating, I'm not in any way mildly suggesting that there is anything nefarious. Why? We don't know. We don't know anything. Let me say this again. Ignorance is bliss, and I'm blissful. I don't know. That being said, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I say to you, do you have any idea of what people like me and like you are thinking as to what the future portends, as to what it means? Do you know what would happen in the event that we can harness this? Do you know what could happen if, and I only say if, we were out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the Pacific, or out somewhere where we know there are fault lines and there are critical tectonic plates and places where our seismic activity are most prone, most vulnerable, most opportune, a focal point, or foci, multiple of focus points. And do you know what would happen if it were possible to somehow use what has been called and what has been recognized, perhaps maybe in I don't know what the word is, inaccurately, as either direct energy weapons or Tesla waves? Someone the other day sent me, "You don't believe in direct energy weapons. So here's a video from some guy who said there was." Have you noticed this? You ever get this? "So you don't believe that seed oils can cause cancer, right? Well, here's a video from some guy." Well, who's the guy? "I don't know, but it's a video." "So you don't believe in God, huh? Well, here's a video from some guy." And they always send you some video from some guy. And you're like, "Oh, thanks. I didn't know that. Who is it?" "I don't know, but there's a video. That's it." I'm thinking, well, I don't think that necessarily qualifies as, the last word. But I say, my friends, let's think today. Let us just think. Let us just think of everything. Take this time. Honey, are you scouring the news? She's scouring the news. Mrs. Allen is scouring. Scour, baby. Scour. Don't scowl, but scour. Let me ask you, yes or no, do you believe as we speak now? Do you believe, or would you not believe? Or do you have any reason to believe that mankind, that weapon systems of countries and rogue nations and rogue characters are able to control the weather, the weaponization, the militarization of weather? Do you believe that, and why? Why? What makes you think? You're just some conspiracy loon, aren't you? 'Cause I saw this video from this guy, and he told me that it's possible. You see, my friends, the earthquake and the volcano is many times in your heart. It's in your imagination. It's in your fear. It's an unresolved, unfocused, inexplicable fear with knowledge and imagination. Wonderful. Trepidation, right? Trepidation. To know something is to fear something. You never were afraid of cancer until you heard about cancer, right? You never had any reason to worry or concern yourself with cancer until somebody told you about cancer, till you saw the number of people who died from cancer. So it's not that you say, where'd you get this cancer fear from? From all the people dying from cancer. That's where. So when you know something, you're able to apply different fears to it. Makes sense to me. Not because you're demented, but because you know these things. Number two, do you have an imagination? Do you think like bad people? When you tell your child, be careful, don't ever accept a ride from somebody. Don't put your kid's name on their backpack. Don't post pictures of kids. Why? Because in your mind, you're able to say, this is what a sick person does, even though you're not sick. Don't you understand? Because you have imagination, you have knowledge, and you're able to think the way they do. I'm always fascinated by serial killers. Not because I like them, but I want to know. I don't know what normal is until I understand what abnormal is. And I love the way I just want to know, how does this thing work? So going through what I'm saying right now, look at what's going on in the world right now with people who have absolutely no concern at all for human life, the destruction of property, the destruction of antiquities and history and recordation. Let me just put this into perspective for you. Let me just make it very, very clear. To be a student of history is to understand as a human, a history or a chronicler of depravity, of absolute depravity. So let me go back to what I'm saying. Since man walked this planet, since man first looked up as a hominid or as a what have you, and first saw lightning, thunder, rain, snow, hail. What is this? Wind, tsunamis, and cyclones, and hurricanes. And the first time mankind ever looked up and said, what the hell is this? What is this? Not to mention just the sun going up and down and rain is just regular, and then cold, and then hot. It was important for mankind to understand, to harness that fear into shaping a locus or a place of control. And with that, dear friends, and I say this with all due respect, before there was any revelation or any connection between any deity and people, man created what we call later on God or nature or mythology or Zeus or whatever it is. There had to be something, a way to personify this, to objectify this, to understand how does this happen. All of this a part of our genius. And as we sit today, there are many of you saying, there was an earthquake the other day right after Taiwan, wasn't it? Yeah. Now, what are you told? What are you called? What do your friends call you? What do the intellectually meek and mild call you whenever you subject them to the hypothesis, to a proposition that maybe something might be askew? And I have no reason to believe this, and I have no reason whatsoever, dear friends, none. I'm just like you. I'm just taking this. I'm glad. I hope nobody was hurt. I'm sure there's some reason. I don't want to say the word Occam's razor. I hate that phrase. Apparently, this is the year of Occam's razor, because there's not a week where at least 10 people don't bring up Occam's razor somehow to suggest to me that they have subscribed to the notion that it is probably best to not assume the more complicated of solutions or explanations. Just there's a medical school profession, an apothegm, if you will, an aphorism, a bromide, a chestnut that says something to the effect that when you hear hoofbeats, don't think zebra. Okay. That being said, what was the worst weather horror you have seen, not on TV, but you have been a part of? Because there is nothing that is more frightening when you realize, oh no, this could be happening. And I think, dear friends, that there are many, many reasons to also concern yourself with why earthquakes are worse. Mary says, Hurricane Camille. I'm from Florida. And we used to have this thing about anybody with a pool. My parents had a pool in their backyard, and we had to throw everything inside the pool. Any lawn furniture, throw it in, because it's always the projectile stuff. So everybody threw like their stuff in the pools, which stayed there. And my mother at the time was a pretty devout Catholic. She believed in Saint Barbara. Saint Barbara was the patron saint of weather, and she had holy water. We were kids one time, and all of a sudden she would take us around, and she had like holy water. She's like throwing. I'm serious. It was wild. Saint Barbara will protect us. And I would ask questions like, well, what if people don't know about Saint Barbara? Quit asking questions. Even then I thought, I don't know about this. When I was a kid, the first thing I thought about when I was being raised in Florida, not Florida, you're probably vacationing in Florida. I'm from Florida. And in Florida, we have lightning. And you can always tell a real Floridian. When it's lightning, they go inside. The guy from Ohio says, hey, look at this. Oh, no. Because they say, well, it's as rare as somebody getting hit by lightning. You ever hear people say that? That's as rare as being hit by lightning. I know 3 people that got hit by lightning. It's not as rare as you think. But where were you? The patron saint of lost lawn furniture. Yes, indeed. Dividing says, I was 3 houses away. Look at this. I was 3 houses away from the epicenter, or the epicenter, or epic center. I like that even better. The epicenter of the 94 in Reseda Northridge earthquake in California. They called it Northridge because of the death toll in that building. Why did those people die? Very good. Wow. Interesting. Felt in Connecticut. I'm in Florida. So much lightning. Oh, lightning. Oh, yeah. And in the Tampa Bay area, now we're talking about the geography of the Tampa Bay area, St. Clearwater, Pinellas, that, Tampa Bay there. And really down to the south. They always said it's the lightning capital of the world. Well, Java technically is, but we thought that. And we really thought it was important that there was this ability to feel this sense of. But anyway, I forgot to tell you, almost forgot. When I was a kid, the thing that we always heard about, which was the most, I thought, fascinating to me, was the person who was on the phone who was hit by lightning. It was always this weird, it was always that strange kind of thing. It was one of those weird, I don't know what the story is, but it was always this, it was almost in a weird way, just like when you were a kid in Halloween, they said, be careful. There was a kid over there a couple years ago, where, I don't know, over there somewhere, and he ate an apple, and there was a razor blade in it. Yeah, who? I don't know, it was a kid over there. Who? I don't know. And everybody remembers this kid that bit into an apple. There was a razor blade. Never happened, but we thought it was. And we always heard about somebody that was on the phone, and you did, and you thought, hang up the phone. It's lightning. Wow. We always listen to the AM radio. We could always tell the storm was coming because you could hear in the background. It's wonderful. One time, my parents, when they got the portable phone, the cordless phone, he goes, hang up, I got to call you back. It's lightning. I said, you're on a cordless phone. I know it's lightning. No, it's not going to go from the base through no, anyway, forget that one. But why do you think earthquake is so frightening? Why do you think? This just in from Real Clear Politics. I'm reading this. Magnitude 4.8 earthquake hits New York, New Jersey. That's it. They show this picture. And people are going to remember, where were you on 4-5? Where were you on 4-5? When were you when the day the earth shook? Where were you? I'm looking at CBS News. Strong earthquake rattles New York City and surrounding region. Let's go to others as well, just to bring you up to speed. That's what they're saying. Magnitude 4.8. And you can see this. You can see right now the Daily Mail on the earthquake. You can see Stuart Varney and company, with all 3 people watching it. He's on there, and all of a sudden you see the shaking. A magnitude 4.8 earthquake rattles New York as tremors are felt across New Jersey, Philly, and Connecticut. Emergency alert tells New Yorkers to stay indoors 40 minutes after the event. That's what you said. Then there's the picture from the UN. Unbelievable. People are saying this is really nuts. Celebrities lose it over the New York City earthquake, as a 4.8 magnitude tremor is felt in New Jersey and Philly. Celebrities are losing it. Don Lemon. Oh, I'm on Twitter. I kid you not. Not Don Amici. Don Lemon, who, by the way, one time is forever famous because he was asking whether a plane could be sucked up in a black hole in our atmosphere. Jessica Chastain says, this is really nuts. Hope everyone is okay and that our buildings weren't damaged. Did we just have an earthquake? I asked the same question. Busy Phillips? Who the hell is that? But like guys, I think there was an earthquake in New York City. Like guys? Carabono. Who the hell is that? I do this all the time. Who are these people? They're going crazy. Well, let me tell you something. You may laugh. You may laugh, but one day it's not going to be so funny. See some other news here. Better late than never. New York City puts out an earthquake alert 40 minutes late and tells residents to stay indoors and only call 911 if injured. Thank you. There it is right now. 4.7 magnitude earthquake has occurred in New York City. Wow. Wow. A lot of good that does you, huh? A lot of good that does you. This is also a chance for us to bring each other together. Look at this, revealed. Oh, here, look at this. Revealed. The biggest earthquakes to rock the East Coast in history, including a 7.08 quake that killed 60 people in South Carolina. A 4.8 magnitude earthquake rattled New Jersey and New York City and Connecticut, adding itself to the long list of earthquakes to hit the East Coast. And they go through this list of everything. My God, they compiled this quickly. And right now, on regular cable news, nothing. Do you understand that? Nothing. This is what fascinates me, dear friend. This is what fascinates me. Raul Rodriguez says, shake, rattle, and roll. Thank you, Raul. By the way, Raul is a big supporter of us as we stop what we're doing to just reach out to allow all of you. And let me tell you something what's important about this. You listen carefully and you listen good. Yeah, you can go to, see Don Lemon's tweets. That's great. This is if you have nothing better to do. Or you can enjoy us right here at Lionel Nation, where not only I can talk to you with my incredible piercing brilliance, my scintillating ability to really nail down exactly what you're feeling, and I'm serious, in this commonality, this communal wellspring of collective thought. That's what we're doing right here. And in the right column, you get to talk with some of our great and wonderful family members. We meet every day at 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. This is our family. These are our family. We've been doing this for years. And it's a delightful group. And all I ask you is that you listen to what I'm saying very carefully. Do not draw any kind of conclusion as to what this is about or we're about. First and foremost, what I find to be what I find to be the most interesting is that we're able to celebrate the immediacy. Imagine if we had this during 9/11. Imagine this. Now, let me tell you something. Why earthquakes are different. You know why? You know why? Very, very simple. And listen to me very carefully. Do you know why people throw up when they're dizzy? Do you know this? Do you know this? Why do we throw up when we get to down? Hear me out. You're going to say, what the hell is he talking about? But you better get used to that. You're going to be asking that quite a bit. What the hell is he going to talk about? Indeed. Yeah, look at that movie. Look at this earthquake. Remember this with Charlton Heston, Ava Gardner, George Kennedy, Lorne Greene, and Genevieve Bujold. Earthquake. Remember that one? Remember Marjo Gortner? Oh, those were the days, my friend. Remember that? Irwin Allen? Wonderful stuff. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, let me go back to what I was saying. I have a psychology major. What does that mean? Nothing. But what I remember the most, believe it or not, was the most interesting, was about memory and perception and awareness. In fact, what I do, what you do, what we all do is perception and awareness. And the question that was presented to us, I thought was the most interesting. They said, why do we throw up when we're dizzy? Why don't we, lose our bowels, become incontinent? Why don't we micturate? Why don't we evolve ourselves to some undisclosed, self-centered, and dare I like to say it, a solipsistic form of undonism, a urolagnia, for those of you who really want to get into it? Because I'm sure you've thought about the water sports in this degree of depth, but I digress. So the question is why? And people say, well, the reason why is very simple, because you're dizzy. Yes, but why do you throw up? Well, because your inner ear, your cochlea, because of the cilia, and I get cilia and cilia, the cilia move because, yes, but why do you throw up? Why don't you sneeze instead? Why is the reaction vomiting? Anybody know? Has to do with the vagus nerve. Well, that's Lori Reinhardt, ladies and gentlemen. What's a voice from the past? Lori Reinhardt, stranger. The vagus nerve, the vasovagal, all of that. That's the trigger, or that's the cause of it. But why that reaction? Why doesn't the diaphragm, why is it not a diaphragmatic when you start? Why not hiccup or hiccough, as they say? Well, the reason why, listen to this, is great. And it goes to locus of control. Have you ever seen your dog sometimes look a bit weird? You ever see your dog eat grass? I know it sounds weird. Do you ever eat your dog eats? Did you see your dog eat something that? Why? Because it's a purgative. Because every animal knows the first reaction is the vomitus reaction. Vomiting. Emesis is called it. To become emetic. Emesis. Emesis will save your life. If dogs even know, if they don't feel good, if they've eaten something wrong, they will do something to encourage emesis. Well, here's the theory. When your head is spinning and it's showing movement, but your feet are in the ground or on the ground, and you know your feet are telling you, we're not moving, but your head is telling you, oh no, we are moving. And your body, your limbs, this kind of proprioception, that kind of thing says, no, we're not moving. But the body says, yes, it is. It can put you into a reaction where you will become emetic, or you'll vomit, because it believes you've ingested a purgative. Excuse me, what am I saying? Not a purgative, a toxin. It believes that the reason why you're doing this is you must have ingested something. There must be a poison. This is the only thing we can figure. Get rid of it. Whatever you've eaten, get rid of it. And that's why you throw up. That's why you don't sneeze. That's why you don't laugh. That's why you don't, like I said, urinate or whatever it is. So when you're sitting here and all of a sudden you feel something like this, and you're used to it in New York, like sometimes you'll feel the subway cars go by. Oh, that's okay. You're used to that. You can be in a restaurant, there's a subway nearby. Sometimes it's funny, even during Broadway, when you're watching a play or a musical, and the walls are so thin, you hear horns and sirens, and sometimes you're near a subway. So rumblings aren't that big of a deal. But when you're sitting someplace and you're not supposed to be feeling that, and you feel that, let me ask you something. What's the most frightened you've ever been? What's the most frightened? Oh, hyperemesis in pregnancy. Yes. Morning sickness. Correct. Gracie loves George. Absolutely. The body's beautiful. It's so wonderful. And the stuff that it does, it's the most fascinating to me. We don't even want to talk about it because it's gross. It's gross. I don't think it's gross at all. I think it's beautiful. It's God. What's the most frightened you've ever been? And have you ever been to something? And imagine what it's like to be in war. I've never imagined. That's why when I see pictures of warscapes, I can't imagine what people are thinking. I can't imagine what children are thinking. I can't imagine what that's like. I can't imagine what is this horror like. And I don't understand why they come. Remember East Palestine? We never did anything about those. We never did anything. What do you think the fires? Remember the fires in Northern California? What was that about? It was fascinating. The fires. Where did they come from? Where was their reaction? Where is this? What about the fires? Lahaina. What was that about? Why did that happen? We just stopped talking about that. My friends, again, I ask you, if you're new here, welcome. Have some crumb cake, have a seat. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel. I can't tell you enough. We live and die by metrics. Whether you like it or you subscribe, it's the only thing that determines worth. And what I want to do is I want to provide a safe harbor for the intellectually bereft, intellectually starving, for people to say, I want something different. I don't want to be lectured at. I don't want people like Johnny Pittman will tell you, Lee will tell you, Chrissy B, the usual suspects, the cast and the crew, Lizzie Solak, she better be careful. She's the den mother here. Better watch what you say around her. She means business. As Vicki Lawrence saying, little sister don't miss when she aims her gun. You know what I mean? Bang, bang, shoot 'em up. Harry Nilsson. I can go on and on. Fear is the mind killer. I got bumped by a great white whale and almost lost my foot. I can't believe that. I mean, I can believe that. I just can't believe what they're saying. Scariest thing, I was pushing my daughter in a stroller and I saw a tornado a few hundred feet away. I felt completely helpless. Ah, yes. The locus of control. Yes. I remember one time the most fun I've never in my life ever experienced this. Ever. No drug, no fear, nothing is to skydive for the first time in free fall. That is something that I will never, ever. It reminded me, oh, this is what your body can do. Forget drugs. This is what, if I could somehow push a button and crank up cortisol and, adrenaline and serotonin and fear, flight, this, that, and to know as you're going up, you're going to jump 13,500 feet in this DC-9 or DC-3 or whatever this is, this old thing with a window, and you're sitting there wearing nothing but a harness. It was a tandem, was the first one. I did AFF level 1 free fall, the second one solo, but the first one, which was the best. And you're thinking to yourself, that's the part I love. You're thinking, how does this work? Why am I here? How does this? And you're sitting there and you're looking at your altimeter, 3,000, 4,005. You're not even close, 13,500. And all of a sudden, the guy behind you goes like that. And you're seeing people just jumping out of this, just jumping out. They've got parachutes. You don't. You're going to harness, but you're going to hook onto somebody. An extra big parachute for two of you. And that feeling of with your head out the door with the wind and the noise and the cold. And I'm wearing a helmet. I think, what is a helmet for? I could see me one day, and God forbid it doesn't open, and people are standing around my remains. And go, well, if he'd have worn a helmet, he would have been able to endure the 13,500. And that sticking out, just dangling out of a plane in the air. I know that sounds crazy. It's like, what am I doing? What's going on? You can't process anything. That's the best part. You can't be like, you're just, and then one, two, and out you go. And your brain is saying, you don't know what's going on. You're like, it's so loud, so cold. You feel it through your fingers like, damn, that's cold. It's loud. And wow. And you just, if you can look up and there's a plane and you're punching the clouds And here's the best part. You don't feel like you're flying. You're falling, you feel like you're flying because the ground's not coming up. It's just static. It's just there. It's not moving. You're flying like a bird. That's the other thing humans wanted to do. Since the beginning of time is to fly. Humans wanted to do that. They wanted to fly. And there's, I don't know how many, you free fall for like a minute, 2 minutes. And then at 4,500 feet, you drop, yeah, about 9,000 feet you drop. About a minute and a half. And then, and the most beautiful sound of nothing. Nothing. You might hear the cells kind of a little bit sometimes when you flare it and make sure the cells are open. You can come behind somebody. They won't hear you. And you look, and this is the part that I'll never forget. You see your feet and the ground. You've seen your feet in a plane. You can look outside a plane. You see the floor of the plane. And I thought to myself, I'm going to slide through this harness. That's what I felt like. I'm going to slide through. I'm going to slide. I don't know why. And that, oh my God. That feeling for the rest of my life. And by the way, second time I did it, not even close. Because I knew what to expect. We go through life deadening our instincts, deadening them. And today, at 10:23, on 4-5, where were you on 4-5? And all that processing didn't come close. And I think of what people in war must feel like when they realize this is the end of life. This isn't just exciting. This cannot be happening. It will forever destroy. Oh, here we go. There it is. You hear that? I'm using my phone, so I can't. What does it say, honey? Aftershocks may be felt. What time is it now? 11:46:42. Call it 11:47. Aftershocks may be felt. Okay. Aftershocks. Wow. And we are here, my friends. What are your thoughts? By the way, anybody listening from the area? Didn't feel anything here in central New York State, Syracuse area. Thank you, Lori. Fear-mongering. Lionel's duck and cover alarm. Thank you. Funny business. Move to Florida. No, thank you. Earthquake in New York City. Lionel Nation and Lionel Legal. Thank you, Cheryl Callahan. God bless you. Rob says, I was at an airport in Cabinda, Angola. Right off the bat. Being searched by soldiers with AK-47s when 2 male lions ran at us. The soldiers scared me, but the lions scared everyone, and I got through customs pretty quickly. I don't have stories like that. Duck and cover, baby. This channel is the bomb, man. This is Johnny Green's. The big one is still coming. Watch out. Don't forget. And we will do everything in our power to deny the obvious, won't we? I was telling my friend today, telling Mark Simone, I said, I know you're going to crazy. I said, but the stuff that if you knew what people could do right now, you would not be able to sleep at night. You would not be able to sleep at night. I said, look what they're spraying. Geoengineering. I'm not making this up. People just have this denial. Denial insulates them. Deborah Young says, I remember earthquakes in California. Freaky stuff. Tsunamis. Keep the masses calm and lead them to safety and peace. Yes. But you know what? This is important. I read this. Let me see. Lewis writes, a 4.5 earthquake is nothing, folks. I survived the 6.7 Northridge, 1995 in Encino. That was a real earthquake, people. And by the way, remember, thank you, by the way, Lewis. Remember these numbers, if you will, these seismic type of, these are logarithmic. So do a quick little research in this. These are logarithmic. The Richter scale is a logarithmic scale that measures the size of earthquakes. It's a base 10 logarithm, which means that each increase in magnitude is a factor of 10. For example, a magnitude 6 earthquake has a wave amplitude that is 10 times greater than a magnitude 5. Think about that. And is this God? Is this God? Let me tell you, if you want to be in awe of something, we use this term awesome. It's awesome. Awesome? I don't think so. Is it awesome? Are you in awe? Awe is when you see God. Awe is when you see something that is so inexplicable, so immane, so Brobdingnagian. You cannot put it into words. That's what awesome is. That's what awe is. And we use the term all the time, is that we don't know what it is. You see, one of the things that we do as human beings is we do something that other animals do not do, as far as we know, and that is the moment of understanding and the aha moment, eureka. But when something makes sense, when you break through that, when you realize something, you break through that veil of either ignorance or whatever, that's the most incredible thing in the world. That's the most incredible thing in the world. And that's what humans do. And that's why we have to teach kids to always maintain this. And by the way, if you have kids right now, make sure you tell them, don't worry. This is fun. You want to learn about earthquakes? Yes. Let's learn what they do. Let's learn about rain and earthquakes. It's ignorance that scares you. It's not the knowledge. It's ignorance, knowing how these things work. And what's also interesting is that you also recognize the fact that what we go through in terms of actual turbulence is really nothing compared to what other people go through. This is great. Taiwan is up next. Aha moments indeed. Yes, Rob. Aha. I understand. Yes. See, the human, what's so interesting is there are moments of the brain and development that are so critical. And you're going to see this next when artificial general intelligence takes over. Mark my words. I don't know when it's going to happen. I may not be here when that happens. You are not. That is scarier than any of this stuff. This can at least be, you can move, you can, go to Montana, you can go to Chugwater, Wyoming, you can go to places, and just where there's nothing, there's flat land, and that's a way to escape it. You won't be able to escape artificial general intelligence. You won't. That's the thing that causes awe for me. In my life, what made me, I remember as a kid, the first thing that made me think, I'll never forget this, was God always was. That blew my mind. What? Always was? No beginning? No beginning. Always was. Always was here. Couldn't grasp it. It's like a fourth dimensional object, like a tesseract. You can't imagine it unless I explain what dimensions really mean. We'll talk about that later. Dimensions don't mean length, width, height. No. And by the way, it's not height, it's height. Temperature is two-dimensional. It's just different temperatures. Certain things maybe when you say dimensional, doesn't mean physical space coming at you. It might be another parameter, another feature, another way of looking at it. Doesn't fourth dimensional, 11th dimensional doesn't mean there's different dimensions. It doesn't mean that. It means parameters of, for example, a gas. A gas can be temperature, pressure, temperature, pressure. What's the other one? volume or whatever, different coordinates that compress together, collect together to make something. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. Aha. That moment of aha. And not the group take on me, but I mean aha, like I got it. I think I know about the God thing, maybe, but not really. And then the next thing was the idea of alien craft, aliens. Aliens living, coexisting, doing things that we cannot do, blew my mind. Never saw one. And of course, I never could find anybody really talk about it because a lot of people are kind of crazy about it. But the one that really blows my mind is AGI. I can't. We'll get to that later. Look at this. Would you have gone or would have went? I don't know what that means. All right, my friends. That's all we're going to say. Any final words? Let me just say thank you for this. Who is this? Flights grounded. Where are you looking at now, honey? Oh, Nearpod. Let's get some news thing. Did that 1023, right? I got it. Remember I said that. It's in Quake rocks tri-state magnitude 4.8. Kathy Hochul speaking now, honey, about the New York earthquake. Kathy Hochul, good news. Good news, everybody. Good news. What do you think? I would issue a statement. I think he should. What do you say? I don't know. It's time also to go to our magical duck and ask the duck what he thinks, but perhaps for another time. Flights grounded, Holland Tunnel closed, all the travel chaos caused by tri-state area earthquake so far. Yankee Stadium field was shaking when earthquake rocked. Wow. This is so good. So interesting. Very weird. Very weird. Let's go through this. Look at this. Flights. Remember also, my friends, whenever something like this happens, ask yourself, what is ignored? What is ignored? What does a distraction, a natural distraction, what does that do to take your eye off something, off of prestidigitation? Is there something else that's going on that's even better than this? Again, not to suggest it's man-made, not at all. Why would I do that? That's crazy, right? That's crazy. New York area flights were grounded and the Holland Tunnel was closed for inspection Friday morning in the aftermath of a 4.7 magnitude earthquake that struck New Jersey, causing headaches for travelers all over the region. Imagine being in the tunnel when you feel it. Within hours of the tremors at 10:23 a.m., remember I told you that, 10:23, the Holland Tunnel was temporarily held up for inspection, and drivers were cautioned. Inspection? What do you think? I don't know. Looks like if you don't want to see any big cracks or water pouring through. Yeah, the Lincoln. Holland's nice compared to the Lincoln. Whoa. Flights out of LaGuardia and Newark airports were also grounded, resulting in delays of up to 45 minutes. Now, that's still better than a lot of stuff during Christmas, during the regular time. Is that it? Is that the end of it? Okay, here's some more. Let me look some more. Oh, they have maps. A map is always good. Just a second. Let me read this. A rare earthquake rocked the New York area Friday morning, shaking buildings and sending terrified residents into the streets as it rattled parts of the Big Apple. I would have liked to have been there. The first time a major tremor has hit since 2011. I think I remember that one. I felt it was very, very quick. The preliminary 4.8 earthquake struck near Lebanon, New Jersey. Quote, I was doing my morning reporting and this safe in my office, that's a ton, starts shaking. The whole room is shaking, said Monique Horton, who works at the Balmain store on Madison Avenue. I was just freaked out. Scary, really scary. I'm a New Yorker my whole life, 36 years. Never see anything like it. At the UN building in Midtown, a Security Council address on the Israel-Gaza conflict was interrupted as cameras began shuttering. FAA told airlines to expect flight delays in and out of the Big Apple because of the quake. Some flights bound for New York had already diverted to the other airports. Interesting. Now, there's one thing that I think I might be able to say that Mrs. L and I experienced that might come close to this. And that, of course, was 9/11. On that Tuesday morning, 8:45, 8 minutes, never forget that. Also surreal, also. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be following up. Let me tell you something. But very quickly, may I ask you, can we do a quick run through, a quick kind of a geographic, kind of a roll call? Well, where's everybody from? Give me your city and your state, not your address, of course, but your city. Don't say Ohio. Give me the name, like Camden Fork, Utah, city and state. I love to get an idea, especially when you're out of this country. There's from Philly. Look at this. What else we have here? Naples, Florida, Grahamtown, South Africa. Isn't that fascinating? Seattle, Moses Lake. Oh, look at this. Look at these. Pueblo, Colorado, New York City, Redmond, Washington, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Roll Tide, Suffolk County, Warren, Vermont, Eagleswood, New Jersey, Florence, Kentucky, Port St. Lucie, Kent, Washington, St. Helena, UK, Merseyside, wow, Ireland, Cotton, look at it, Arizona, British Columbia, Virginia, oh, Tahuya, got that one, Ecuador, this is beautiful, Medford, Missouri, doesn't it blow, that blows my mind, Vancouver, and we were here. Well, dear friends, I thank you for this. I thank you for being a part of this. It was so wonderful. Please, I ask you, please, especially if you're brand new, remain a friend, remain a part of our group. Would you please? Make sure you if you could, subscribe. We'd be so honored to have you. This is one of the greatest things ever. This is so good. I've been doing this stuff for a long time, okay? And I first started to think about it in really 1988, when I was really on the air, when talk radio started, and kind of TV. This would you think, honey, of turning the TV on at all? No. Yeah. Eric Adams holds a press conference. I've got it all right here. I've got my iPad. That seems so antediluvian. That's right. We have the mayor. The mayor is going to speak. The mayor, and whenever the mayor speaks, I think to myself, "Oh dear God! Oh dear God! Oh my God! This man is the oh dear God!" Incredible. So thank you all. Thank you, dear friends. Please, again, we ask you to subscribe. We're going to reconvene. Would you promise me you'll be with us tonight at 7? Can we do that again? We'll do it 7 p.m. Wasn't this fun? Didn't you have a good time? Aren't you glad I was here? Aren't you glad on 4 or 5 we were together? And I'll bring you up to date and bring you up to speed and let you know what's going on. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. All right, dear friends. And also, I will do this. I haven't plugged anything. I haven't done anything. I'm just not that I'm plugging, because I never, ever am embarrassed of capitalism. But I do want you to remind you of a couple of things. Very, very simply this, which is critical. Number one is Mrs. L, my beloved's YouTube channel is Lynn's Warriors. And if you have any interest whatsoever in what is going on in terms of child predation, sex trafficking, and how we can stop this as human beings, that's the place to go. And also, my sister channel, so to speak, is Lionel Legal on YouTube, where I, being former prosecutor and currently licensed trial lawyer, give you my perspective on everything from Fanny to a hole in the ground, okay? Which is a whole other story. All right, dear friends. Again, on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you so much. You were wonderful. We will see you again this evening. Let's make it a point. Be here at 7 p.m. Everybody come back. Have a great and glorious day. Thank you so very much. And until then, remember these words: the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.